Well, it's America's 250th, a chance to look back at our nation's history and roots. And those roots are deep here in the Arklatex, where settlements by European immigrants date back to the 1500s. Louisiana's oldest settlement was founded in 1714 in what is now Natchitoches in French Louisiana among the Caddo and Natchitoches tribes. At a critical juncture of trading trails in what was then very much the western frontier of the New World.
Our fort was built for up to 58 guys, but since it was so peaceful, we averaged upper 20s, low 30s.
The settlement of Fort St. John de Baptiste was built 3 years prior to the founding of New Orleans. This recreation went up not far from the original site. This was the second site, now occupied by the American Cemetery.
There's so much here. We have from plantations to us, of course, downtown proper, the brick roadway. Every little piece of Natchitoches has some kind of history to it. And we pack it in that little gift.
It was around the time of the bicentennial that an expert in recreating historical buildings was brought in to bring Fort St. John Baptiste to life. Since then, they've tried to remain accurate to the period, as well as making this a mecca for history lovers of all ages.
They utilized what was available to them in Spanish moss, but all of our buildings, we constantly are working on patching, repairing, adding, because it's a natural material in a natural world, so it wears.
Jeremy McCormick and his fellow rangers at this state historic site enjoy sharing the history of what was a chaotic time overall for the Americas, but a relatively peaceful period here. This despite loyalty shifting as treaties changed what nation had jurisdiction.
We didn't surrender our fort until April of 1804, so it was a kind of a domino effect. There's a lot of implications to, especially being on a border exactly.
None of our commandants actually lived in the fort. All of our neighbors were friendly. The Natchitoches were friends and allies to the French. The Spanish would end up becoming friends and allies.
Commandant Louis Juchereau de Saint-Denis had a vacherie on land that later became Northwestern State's campus and a house east of the Cane River, beginning a tradition of when officers and soldiers completed service, they would settle here and farm, founding many of the community's older families who can trace their roots back to those who lived in this fort.
They grew up on the frontier. They understood frontier life, how to live and work with Native Americans.
When you're in school and you're learning history, it's dates. It's dates, numbers, the occasional name that you must remember. As Jeremy said earlier, the human in history is what makes it interesting.
All year long, KTBS will be taking you back to show you the history of our region as we mark America's 250th semi-quincentennial.